The Weight of Truth. It was a crisp spring morning in Manhattan's Central Park. Sunlight trickled through budding trees. Children's laughter mixed with the distant echo of dogs barking, and the paved running path bustled with joggers and strollers. Among them was Colonel Jasmine Whitaker, a high-ranking officer in the U.S. Army who had just begun her rare day off. Dressed in a charcoal gray tracksuit and a baseball cap pulled low over her braided bun, Jasmine looked like any other New Yorker getting in a morning run. Her skin, a deep, rich brown, glistened lightly with sweat, and her lean, muscular build hinted at a lifetime of discipline. For once, she wasn't a commanding officer, a strategic planner, or national defense asset. She was simply Jasmine, a woman with an hour of peace in a city that never slept. Slowing down, she uncapped her water bottle and took a few sips, standing near a quiet bench beneath a cherry blossom tree, just starting to bloom. That's when she heard Ida's soft, choked sob coming from behind the bench. She stepped closer and saw a little boy, maybe 3 or 4 years old, sitting cross-legged on the ground. He was clutching a ragged teddy bear to his chest, his face streaked with tears, cheeks red from crying. Jasmine's instincts kicked in. She scanned the Arano adult in sight, seemed to be looking for a missing child. No anxious mothers or panicked voices. No father pacing or babysitter on the phone. Just New Yorkers living their morning. She knelt slowly and gently, lowering herself to his level. "Hey there," she said softly, careful not to frighten him. "Are you lost?" The boy flinched slightly and hugged the bear tighter. He didn't speak, but looked at her with wide, fearful eyes. "I'm Jasmine," she said with a warm smile. "I won't hurt you, I promise. I'm just trying to help." Still no response. His little shoulders trembled. "What's your name?" she asked, still crouched. He hesitated, then mumbled, "M. Miles." "Miles? That's a strong name." She paused. "Where's your mom?" Miles's lips trembled. "Don't know. She was there. And then, gone." Jasmine's smile softened. "Okay, Miles. We'll find her, all right? You're not alone. Can you stand up with me?" He nodded, wiping his nose on the bear's fur. Jasmine reached out her hand, and with a bit of hesitation, Miles took it. She stood slowly, keeping her tone light. "Let's walk to the park rangers. They'll help us find your mom," she said. As they made their way down the path, Jasmine talked to him about his teddy bear, asking its name, Brownie, and whether he had siblings. He responded with short, uncertain answers, but seemed to be calming. What neither of them noticed was that a police officer across the field had been watching them. Officer Damon Price, a 7-year veteran of the NYPD, had recently transferred to this district. He had seen Jasmine walk away holding the boy's hand, and without context, the image immediately triggered suspicion. In his eyes, something didn't look right. A woman in a tracksuit, darker skin, holding a child who looked nervous. He didn't recognize Jasmine, nor did he pause to observe the situation fully. Instead, his assumptions filled in the blanks. Gripping his radio, Damon muttered, "Possible child abduction in progress near Cherry Row Path. Black female, early 40s, gray tracksuit, escorting minor unclear if authorized." He started toward them with determined strides, right hand hovering near his holstered weapon. Jasmine and Miles had just turned the corner toward the security outpost when a voice barked from behind them. "Mom, step away from the child." Jasmine turned, startled, shielding Miles instinctively behind her leg. Officer Damon stood 10 feet away, hand on his belt, face stern. "What's going on?" she asked, raising an eyebrow. "Is that your child?" Damon demanded. "No," Jasmine replied calmly. "He's lost. I'm helping him find his mom." "Then step away. You are not authorized to handle him." Jasmine kept her voice steady. "I'm Colonel Jasmine Whitaker, United States Army. I was taking him to security." "Colonel," Damon interrupted, incredulous. "In that outfit? Nice try." She blinked. "Excuse me? Put your hands up and step away from the boy. Now." Miles whimpered behind her, his hand tightening around Jasmine's. "Sir," she said firmly, "you're scaring him. You're escalating a situation that requires compassion. I gave you a lawful order." Damon shouted, drawing his weapon. "On your knees. Hands on your head." Gasps rang out from people nearby. A small crowd had gathered, phones out, filming. Miles began crying again, louder this time. Jasmine's jaw clenched. "I will not kneel," she said. "I am a decorated officer. I've committed no crime, and I will not be humiliated." Last warning. Damon's voice cracked with a volatile edge. His finger twitched. Jasmine bent slightly to console Miles, and in that split second, Damon fired. The sound of the gunshot cracked the serene morning like lightning. Screams erupted. Jasmine collapsed onto the ground, clutching her thigh where blood now soaked through the fabric of her pants. Miles screamed in terror, trying to shake her awake. "She's been shot. Someone call 911. Chaos engulfed the scene. Damon stood frozen, his weapon still drawn, eyes wide as realization sank in. He had just shot an unarmed woman in front of dozens of witnesses for helping a child. Moments later, sirens blared. A patrol car skidded to a stop, and Captain Richard Hanley stepped out. He ran toward the crowd and pushed his way through until he saw Jasmine. His face drained of color. "Colonel Whitaker," he exclaimed. Jasmine, teeth gritted in pain, glared up at him. "He shot me. For helping a lost boy." Hanley turned to Damon. "You what?" I thought she was taking him. She wasn't in uniform." "She's a colonel, you idiot." "She's spoken at 3 ceremonies I've attended." Paramedics rushed in. Jasmine was lifted onto a stretcher, still conscious, pain in her voice but fire in her eyes. "I want this documented. Every word. Every second." As the ambulance doors closed, she locked eyes with Hanley. "This isn't just about me. You know that, right?" He nodded grimly. "We'll get to the bottom of it." The story broke within hours. Footage of the shooting flooded social media. Jasmine's credentials were verified publicly, and soon the nation was watching. A decorated black female officer shot in broad daylight while helping a child. It was a scenario too outrageous to ignore, and it reopened long-festering wounds around law enforcement, race, and power. From her hospital bed, Jasmine refused to stay silent. When reporters asked for a statement, she looked straight into the camera. "What happened to me wasn't an accident. It was a system at work, one that rewards fear over facts and punishes people who don't fit the profile. I survived, but how many others didn't?" The response was seismic. Thousands marched. Veterans voiced support. Congressional hearings were launched. Meanwhile, Officer Damon Price was charged with aggravated assault, reckless endangerment, and official misconduct. He was stripped of his badge the same week. At trial, Jasmine appeared in a wheelchair. Across from her, Damon stood pale and solemn. The judge addressed the courtroom. "This case is not only about unlawful use of force, but the prejudices that lead to it. Officer Price acted not in service of law, but in service of his own bias." The sentence, 15 years in prison. Jasmine didn't celebrate. She didn't smile. She simply said, "Accountability is not vengeance, but it is necessary." In the aftermath, real changes followed. NYPD launched a new task force on racial bias and training. Body cameras became mandatory across the state. Civilian oversight boards were expanded, and Jasmine Colonel Whitaker was invited to testify before Congress. Her speech concluded with the words, "You can patch up a bullet wound, but not a broken system. That takes courage, vision, and action." One sunny fall afternoon, Jasmine returned to the park. She sat on the same bench where it all began, and from across the grass came a familiar giggle. "Miles!" The boy ran up, holding a bunch of daffodils, his mother close behind. "Colonel Whitaker." "I missed you," he beamed. Jasmine opened her arms and hugged him. "I missed you too, brave boy." His mother, eyes misty, reached for Jasmine's hand. "Thank you for protecting him, for standing up when it was easier to back down." Jasmine smiled softly. "We all have a part to play. Mine just happened to start here." And as the sun dipped over the trees, the city around them alive as ever, Jasmine Whitaker knew. The bullet may have scarred her body, but it couldn't touch her purpose. The truth had been heard, and this time it would not be forgotten.